for you, when it comes to ROI, like what are 5 things inside of that you think people should know?
Yeah. And I think we've talked about a lot of these already. So from an ROI perspective, it is taking a look at savings year over year. So knowing and projecting out those savings and knowing that some of those savings can grow year over year based on adoption. So taking a look at that and being able to project that out, absolutely critical. And your sweet spot is 2.5 to 3 years where you're going to really hit your stride and maximize your savings overall. ROI, of course, is not just technology savings when you make a technology investment, but also operational savings. And what I'm seeing more often than not is your operational savings outweigh your technology savings. And so I think that that's absolutely critical as well. And then, of course, making sure that you think about all of those various different components and getting the data necessary. So it's not a quick one and done job, but a lot of analysis goes into ROI. So thinking about your customer journeys and your use cases and gathering all of that information. It's a heavy lift, but it's well worth it as well to be able to create that compelling ROI. And then from a CFO perspective and their love language, certainly net present value, internal rate of return, what that cash outlay looks like is critical. The time to pay back, certainly they take a look at that and want that as low as possible. So those are the big ones in terms of ROI. And don't be scared. Don't be scared of really projecting out the ROI and the savings on the operations side. I know that there are people that steer away from that or step back from that, and soft costs is not a dirty word. And as I talk to various different stakeholders, a lot of times they say, I just want to look at hard costs, just hard costs and not soft costs. But soft costs is really where you're spending the majority of your money today, more than likely, with labor, and those are real costs. And so, ideally, I'd like to get rid of the term soft costs. I mean, it's still a cost to the business. And so anything you can do to drive out that cost is going to be a huge benefit to the business. And it is real dollars at the end of the day.
There can be some real revenue generating opportunities inside of this. So if you have a contact center team that maybe is involved with getting people through important conversion cycles up front, maybe they're in the activation part where maybe you're getting people to come in and subscribe to something, and now people reach out and they get them over that hump. Or perhaps, it has to do with upsell or cross-sell or renewal or who knows what. But there's a revenue side to the contact center that a lot of times people don't talk about. And one of the things that I think is changing tremendously is the IT budget is shifting to the CMO. And as the IT budget shifts to the CMO, who is sitting really closer to the CEO than the CIO, and the CMO is talking everything about what matters most to the CEO. Let's get customers, let's keep customers, let's make sure we have lifetime value. What's our lifetime value with that customer, lifetime customer value? And so now the contact center isn't this cost center. It's a profit center. It's a business sustainability center. And so I think those things are really, really important. And I think that's part of the big change, the paradigm shift, AI, but also the budget shift, putting it in the context of the customer for the CMO. It's harder today to get more customers than it was 5 years ago or 3 years ago. And it costs more to get a customer than it did. And it certainly costs more to a customer than it is to keep one. And so how do you manage, like we talk about agent attrition, like what about, customer churn and the impact that that's having? Like, I think that can be a powerful component of what we build into ROI.
100% agree with you, Frank. And, customer success, customer retention is the new customer acquisition for sure. It is so expensive to acquire customers. And if you're able to retain your customers and continue to sell and to them and have them the lifetime customer, then that's definitely a win. But I do like what you said in terms of revenue, and some of the most impactful ROIs that I have done have been revenue growth ROIs. And so as you take a look at your business upstream and downstream of the contact center, how are you impacting the revenue stream upstream and downstream? I worked with the CEO on one of these business cases where they were struggling with making appointments, and then those appointments showing up. If those appointments showed up, they knew that they would on average get $1,400 worth of revenue for those appointment show rates. So what could we do within the contact center to increase that appointment show rate to drive additional revenue? So those are the sorts of things to think about as well. And just, again, there's so many levers to pull here within the contact center that impact the business end to end.